ever felt the weight of history in just a single line of poetry? Or seen how these like invisible walls can shape entire lives even today in our modern world?
Absolutely. It's quite striking when you stop to think about it.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive into a collection that honestly promises to open our eyes to exactly that.
Yeah, and what's really compelling here, I think, is that we're not just looking at poems.
Yay.
It's more than just a book of poetry.
Right? It feels deeper.
It is. We're exploring this really deeply personal testimony. Almost a call to action, you could say, but articulated through verse.
Okay. And the collection is?
It's Raja Rao Pagidipalli's collection,
Yeah.
The Other Side of the Wall, Poems on Struggle and Survival. And it's like this mirror, reflecting generations of struggle, generations of survival.
Giving us a unique lens on things.
Exactly. A really profound lens into a critical social issue that, well, often stays hidden or isn't fully understood.
So our mission then, for you listening, is to get a really thorough but, accessible understanding of this profound human experience to help you quickly grasp the essence of these, frankly, very powerful narratives.
We'll be digging into the poems themselves, obviously, but also the foreword, the acknowledgments.
Getting the whole context.
Right, to really get the complex realities of caste, resilience, the fight for dignity. It's all woven together in there.
We want to pull out the most impactful insights, connect them back to the historical context, understand the deep personal impact.
And scrutinize the systemic failures, too. That's crucial. We can't ignore that part.
Absolutely. And also celebrate that unwavering spirit of resistance that just runs through the whole thing.
And the author himself, Pagidipalli, he says his purpose is for these words to spark one question, one dialogue, one act of justice.
That's the hope.
And that's what we're aiming for here, right? To kind of facilitate that conversation, give the insights to engage with this vital topic.
Okay, so let's begin maybe by unpacking the dedication, because it feels like more than just, a standard dedication.
Oh, absolutely. It's fundamental.
It feels like the very heartbeat of the work, revealing this deep personal wellspring where the poems come from.
Exactly.
Pagidipalli dedicates the collection to his late father, Sri Sindar Rao Pagidipalli, and he describes his father's life as a lesson in resilience, kindness, and dignity. Someone who was born into struggle, yet rose with determination.
Carrying, as he puts it, not only his own dreams, but also the silent hopes of those who had little, which is just, wow.
It really grounds the entire collection, doesn't it? In this lived, empathetic understanding. It's not abstract.
No, not at all. And this personal foundation is absolutely critical because it explains the profound empathy woven into every single verse.
You can feel it.
Yeah. His father instilled these values in him. Principles like compassion is strength and service to others is the truest measure of success.
Not just ideas, but lived values.
Exactly.
Right.
Lived values that shaped the author's entire worldview. As Pagidipalli himself notes, he says, when I write of oppression, I hear his quiet insistence on justice. When I write of survival, I see his tireless struggle. And when I write of dignity, I remember how he treated every person with respect and humanity, regardless of caste or anything else.
That deep connection, that intergenerational thing, it gives the poems such authenticity.
It really does. It goes beyond just observation. It comes from this place of, deep personal understanding and inherited experience.
You can really see where the author's fire comes from. So from that bedrock, that personal history, we then journey back, right, into chapter 1.
Shadows of the Past, aptly named.
Very aptly named, to confront the ancient roots of this injustice. And the poems here, they just immediately immerse you in the historical architecture of caste. It's like an unbreakable chain etched deep.
And what's particularly striking, I think, is how they illustrate the genesis, the intentional design behind it all.
Right.
Poem 2 talks about Varna's venom stitched in sacred guise. That immediately brings up Varna, that ancient, rigid social class system.
The 4 tiers.
Yeah, the 4 main tiers. And it wasn't just a social ranking. It was presented as, like, divinely sanctioned, a religious justification for massive inequality.
And poem 3, it explicitly names Manusmriti's ink. That's one of the oldest, most influential Hindu law texts, right?
That's the one. Often cited as, codifying these very caste divisions. The poem says that's where a sentence was made, branding individuals by birth.
Not just a status, but a whole life sentence.
It's a totalizing system, dictating your entire existence, assigning often, demeaning trades like leather, carcass taba, right from birth.
And the consequences, just brutal, extending way beyond just your job.
Oh, completely.
Poem 1 laments how knowledge was forbidden and hope wore thin. Can you imagine a society where learning, growth, aspiration itself is just denied?
It's hard to fathom. And Poem 3 adds more detail. Barred from temples, markets, wells of life.
So not just social exclusion, but denial of basic human access.
Fundamental access. Dignity, participation in public life, all of it denied.
The physical and social segregation, too. Poem 5 really hits that hard.
It does. It talks about lines etched deep in soil and stone, creating these rigid divisions, Priests, rulers, merchants rise above, while others just linger, denied the light of love.
And it wasn't just theoretical, was it? It was concrete.
No, very concrete. The poem says, land fenced, borders drawn, confining communities apart, the untouchable confined.
That isolation, it just perpetuates the system, doesn't it? Makes escape almost impossible for generations.
Exactly. So if we connect this to the bigger picture, what the poems are showing us is that caste isn't, just some social hierarchy. It's a meticulously engineered life sentence.
It dictates everything.
Everything. Who you are, if you eat, if you drink, even if your soul has worth, supposedly. It penetrates and controls every single aspect of existence. Macroeconomic, microspiritual, all of it.
And that's so clear in Poem 4, Hunger on the Fringes. The descriptions of hunger there, it's not just about not having enough food. It feels like a deliberate, imposed scarcity.
It does. You read about coarse bread with salt, survival alone, or intestines, trotters, stale food for the night.
Yesterday's Rotus, my only reward. Just grim. A relentless struggle for basic sustenance.
And the poem makes it really disturbingly clear that this hunger isn't just, a physical state. It carries caste's disguise.
What does that mean exactly?
Well, it directly links the denial of food to these concepts of sattvic and tamasic ancient ideas, often about purity and impurity, virtue and vice.
Right.
But they were twisted by priests, the poem suggests, to justify starving and degrading those deemed lower.
So hunger becomes an ideological weapon.
Exactly. Not just a symptom of poverty, but a direct tool of caste oppression, reinforcing the idea that certain groups were just inherently meant to suffer.
Absolutely chilling. And this control, it extended to every single aspect of life, including basic human dignity. The untouchable and untouched shadows section really brings this out.
Yeah, Poem 7 jumps right in with wells where fear marks every stone.
It's not just about sharing resources, it's the fear.
The omnipresent fear governing daily interactions. And the dehumanization is just palpable. Individuals forced to bear, pot on head, the earth's filth they bear.
That image conveys so much. Physical burden, symbolic degradation.
Both. And the burden of labor, too, often invisible but immense. Poem 8 talks about hands scraped raw in filth unseen, in latrines and sewers.
Horrifying work.
Essential yet dehumanizing. A million souls toil unseen day by day, and their lives are tragically priced lower than the dirt they clean.
The system just renders them invisible and expendable, and childhood. Like, it gets stolen in this brutal calculus as well.
Yeah, Poem 9 gives that heartbreaking image of a child forced to sip from a tin cup alone while others drink from silver.
Believing his shadow can stain the light.
It's a denial of innocence, of human potential right from the start. Not just poverty, but something deeper.
And Poem 8 also mentions children hallstones, forced into labor, and girls offered to gods are stolen from dreams.
That's likely a reference to the Devadasi system, right? Where girls dedicated to temples often ended up exploited.
A complete denial of their rights, an insidious form of exploitation disguised as tradition.
Exactly. It's a total system.
Yet, and this is crucial, even amidst these deep shadows of the past, the poems reveal this enduring, powerful spirit of defiance.
Yes. This is the counterpoint. It's not just a litany of suffering.
No. Poem 1, Voices from the Shadows, it speaks of Buddha's words whispered centuries ago, and then figures like Kabir, Ravidas, voices piercing the night.
Historical figures who boldly challenged the caste system through their teachings, their poetry.
And then later, people like Jyotirao Phule, who opened doors with education and social reform.
And B.R. Ambedkar, of course, the architect of India's constitution, who metaphorically burned the chains through legal and political activism.
Yeah.
Their efforts were monumental.
And this is where the narrative gets really interesting, right? It introduces this powerful counter-narrative.
Yeah, the contrast and approach.
Like the poem contrasting Gandhi's term Hardijan, child of God, with Ambedkar's forceful call to break the rod in Poem 3.
Two very different paths.
Uh-huh.
One emphasizing a kind of benevolent inclusion, the other demanding radical structural change and self-assertion.
And the poems celebrate the rise of Sahib banners, representing that delicate assertion of dignity, cutting through the lies. But the real turning point, the twist, comes in Poem 10. The broken people refuse to die.
Yes. Despite everything, denial, hypocrisy, violence, the author asserts that each protest drum, each global plea, is a mirror held to hypocrisy.
It's not just a story of oppression. It's about an unbroken spirit that dares to scream, as the author puts it.
That resilience, transforming suffering into a catalyst for change.
Yeah.
It's incredibly powerful.
Okay, so moving into chapter 2, personal chains and pain. Here, the focus shifts, doesn't it? From the big historical picture
To the everyday, the lived experience.
Exactly. This isn't abstract history anymore. It's the personal burden, starting right from birth.
Poem 11 talks about being born in chains society dares not proclaim.
And how caste and gender together carve scars into her skin. Chilling. Identity itself becomes a brand right from the start.
And that brand defines your whole existence. Poem 14 details this with the line they draw, yet call it my name.
A literal and metaphorical boundary.
Exactly. Restricting access to wells, temples, even land. This invisible line governs everything, showing how deeply ingrained caste discrimination is, shaping every interaction, every opportunity.
And the poems really emphasize the compounding effect, especially for women.
Yes, the triple chains, as they're called in Poems 7 and 14, marginalized as Dalit, as poor, and as women.
That intersectionality just amplifies the suffering enormously.
It does. And practices like the Devadasi rites we mentioned, Poem 11 says they strip the stars from her skies.
Such a powerful image, a total denial of dignity, of autonomy.
And this really raises an important question for us, How do these intersecting identities, caste, gender, poverty, how do they amplify suffering and marginalization? Make life exponentially harder.
The poems make it brutally clear. The personal is profoundly political and deeply, deeply painful.
Yeah, Poem 12 talks about how Dalit women bear the doubled scar, their cries dismissed, justice too far.
Rapes erased by a court's closed eyes. That's not just oversight, is it?
No, it suggests a systemic erasure of their suffering, a denial of legal recourse, a profound betrayal of justice. Their testimony is often just discounted or ignored entirely.
And the economic impact is right there alongside it, isn't it? Labor, debt, exclusion.
Inextricably intertwined. Poem 12 shows fields of hunger, bonded hands remain, with debts like shackles passed down as chains.
Passed down through generations.
Yes, and the scale is staggering. 80% of us till with dust, landless, voiceless. Generations trapped in inherited debt with almost no hope of breaking free.
And that bonded labor often means invisible work, but work that leaves very visible scars.
Both physical and emotional. Poem 13 speaks of hands scrub stains like unseen scars.
In graves dug by weary hands, unpaid lives. Just back-breaking labor with no real compensation.
Poem 15 adds the image of scavengers bent in filth and stench, doing society's most undesirable tasks.
Lives deemed less than human, forced into the most degrading work, often for little or no pay. It's exploitation.
Pure exploitation.
And the denial of basic needs. Just fundamental things for survival. It's heartbreaking.
Poem 13 describes water denied a mile away. Imagine having to make arduous journeys just for water.
And Poem 20, the mother begging for milk for her child, denied because of this belief of disease in her breath.
And essential medical care often just out of reach. These aren't minor inconveniences, they're life-threatening deprivations designed to maintain this dehumanizing social order.
So it moves beyond deprivation into outright violence and injustice, doesn't it? That's a key theme, too.
Yes. The poems bear witness to an alarming frequency of direct violence and systemic injustice. Poem 16 puts it bluntly, Dalit bloodstains broken dreams, with children weep with nameless scars.
The cumulative effect. It's not just a list of bad things happening. It feels like a statement on how state and social structures actually collaborate to deny humanity.
That's a really important point. Turning everyday acts, getting a haircut, drawing water into potential battlefields for dignity.
The specific examples are just visceral, often really hard to process.
They are. But they show how caste manifests not just in systemic barriers, but in these deeply personal, often horrifyingly violent acts.
Poem 17, the boy forced to drink a bottle of pain, filmed while a crowd just stands still.
And the man whose haircut was paid with blood and dust after scissors were thrust into him.
A bride poisoned for loving someone outside the prescribed lines, an elder struck down. These are public acts of humiliation designed to terrorize and control.
And mob violence, too. That collective enforcement of the hierarchy. Poem 18 describes a boy beaten for a picture he wore by 20 men waiting with fists and fire.
Just for a picture.
Or another village where drums fell mute, resources denied, a temple torn apart, a hand severed. Acts of terror meant to enforce compliance and crush any assertion.
These aren't isolated incidents, are they? They feel like a pattern.
The poems present them as a pattern of intimidation, yes.
And the assaults are often so symbolic, aimed right at the heart of human dignity and self-expression.
Poem 19, On Hostile Walls, Hate was scrawled in stone. Shows it pervades even educational spaces.
A woman drawing water, struck, was shamed. A simple daily act.
And a wedding horse becoming a battlefield flame because the groom dared to ride tall, daring to assert a status that was violently rejected.
These acts aren't just about physical harm. They're designed to crush the spirit, reinforce the power structures.
Precisely. Yet, and here we come back to it, despite this unimaginable pain, this systemic oppression, there's that consistent thread of defiance.
It keeps coming through.
The author continuously introduces this counterpoint, a refusal to accept the narrative, a transformation of suffering into a catalyst for change. It's that resilience of the human spirit.
Absolutely. It shines through like a beacon. Poem 12 talks about our silence becomes thunder.
Rising from slums, quarries, sweepers, and students uniting. That collective strength turning unheard cries into this undeniable roar.
In Poem 13, I stand, my voice aflame, refusing the weight of a branded name.
Adding, if walls are high, our cries are higher. It's such a powerful assertion of self-worth against all that ingrained prejudice.
These aren't just voices of pain, though. They're voices of resolute purpose.
Yes. Poem 14 declares, I write my wounds as a rebel's brand, and my scars are maps to reclaimed land.
Turning suffering into a badge of honor, a blueprint for liberation.
Transforming it. And Poem 15 emphasizes the power of testimony. My pen will testify in the courtroom of gloom. The pen is a weapon against injustice.
And bearing witness becomes this source of collective strength. Poem 17. If their bodies fall, their voices rise, etched on my tongue, carved in the skies, I bear their fire.
It's a pledge, isn't it? To carry the memory, carry the fight forward, ensuring individual sacrifices fuel the larger movement.
That transformation of individual pain into collective resistance, suffering into this burning fire for justice, it's just such a consistent, powerful theme throughout the collection.
It truly is.
Okay, so Chapter 3, Illusions of Justice. This is where we really confront that stark, painful contrast, right?
Between the laws on paper and the reality on the ground.
Exactly. The chasm between noble promises of equality and the brutal, bleeding reality. Poem 21 lays it out so clearly.
It does. It lists the constitutional promises. Article 17 abolishing untouchability, Article 14 guaranteeing equality, Article 15 prohibiting discrimination.
Plus things like quotas in Parliament, the 1989 Act against parades of shame, the 1993 Act meant to end manual scavenging.
A whole legal framework designed to protect. Yet what's so illuminating here is how the poems expose the complicity of the very institutions designed to uphold these laws.
Courts, police.
Exactly. It really makes you question the nature of power and accountability when inequalities are this deep-seated.
Because the reality the poem describes flatly contradicts those laws.
Utterly. Dalits beaten, denied, defied, villages burned, and no one's to blame, and the grim reminder that we still see hands in filth and drains.
The gap is just vast and brutal.
And the poem offers this profound commentary on it all. Laws look noble on fragile pages, yet bleed away in power's cages.
The twist, paper protects, but silence reigns. That hits hard.
It suggests legislation alone isn't enough, right? Not without a real shift in societal power and actual enforcement.
And this disconnect, it isn't just within India, is it? Poem 22 talks about global declarations being betrayed locally.
Yes. Bound by law, broken in life. Powerful title. It contrasts things like the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, all humans equal, life, liberty, security, with the reality of Dalit bodies beaten young.
Or the ICCPR swearing no torture, no chains, while Dalits are jailed, denied their say.
And third, the Convention on the Rights of the Child, ILO Convention 107, all advocating no child in chains, no dissent made wall. But the poems show a starkly different reality.
It feels like a profound betrayal of international norms.
The poem even says that while international committees write reports, India walks away, suggesting a lack of engagement with that external oversight.
So despite global calls for basic rights, the Devanasi girl still sold, the scavenger's hands still caked in mold.
The author's observation is biting. The world writes laws, India breaks them all. A systemic disregard for both national and international protections.
And then there's the facade of freedom, as Poem 23 puts it, dismantling the illusion of democracy itself.
Depicting it as dressed in disguise, with a tricolor veil concealing eyes. It really makes you ask how democratic institutions can fail so badly when social injustices like caste aren't genuinely addressed.
Or are actively suppressed.
Right. The poem gives those chilling examples. A Dalit child killed for sipping a sip. A man for wages. A boy for a dip blood stains the ballot where justice dies.
Horrifying acts linked directly to the democratic process.
And Poem 29 adds, I watch the ballot turn into a blade, where fists, not voices, decide who stayed. Force, not free will, dictates outcomes.
Even state-sanctioned humiliation. Hands of the state urinate on their bread. Pots defiled, grain soaked in scorn.
Just awful. The poem then powerfully recalls those visionaries, Phule, Periyar, Ambedkar, calling to annihilate caste or democracy will fall.
Emphasizing that true democracy can't coexist with this.
But even here, there's that counter-narrative. True freedom waits, chained yet near. If Dalit voices rule not just here, India's soul may yet stand tall.
Suggesting liberation only comes when the silenced are empowered to lead.
But despite that aspiration, we see promises in ash and blood in poems 24, 25, and 30, how official pledges just remain unfulfilled.
Poem 24 talks about the scroll of promises unfold, freedom painted in letters of gold, but warns, justice delayed is truth in disguise.
And the mechanisms fail. Courts never appear, compensation is counted in broken grain. Empty redress.
And impunity is rampant, isn't it? A culture of unpunished violence.
Poems 25 and 26. Villages burned, the guilty are spared. Impunity shields the guilty one. Poem 30 states it baldly, impunity ruling evermore.
A systemic failure to hold the powerful accountable, eroding any faith in the system.
Yet even here that defiance hangs. Poem 24. Though law is crippled, I still defy. My voice the verdict they evade.
Poem 25. Paper promises burn, yet I defy.
Poem 30. Though justice sleeps, I fight till death, my pen will turn into a storm. Declarations of unwavering commitment, even when institutions fail.
This cycle of impunity, denial of accountability, it's starkly exposed when justice stands guard with the killer. Poems 26, 27, 28.
Poem 26 gives that shocking statistic. 45,000 cries annually. The sheer scale, 10 women torn before the sun, while impunity shields the guilty one. Clear complicity or inaction.
And the tools of oppression have evolved too, haven't they? Into the digital age.
Chains rattle louder in digital air, slurs as weapons, abuse laid bare, new battlegrounds for hate.
And peaceful protests met with force.
Peaceful marches met with chains unbound, hands raised in protest become crimes to the state, prisons brim with the voices they hate, clear suppression of dissent.
Turning legitimate demands into criminal acts.
And what's so profoundly unsettling is how these poems detail the complicity of institutions meant to protect the police, the courts.
Standing by passively or worse.
It really forces that question about power and accountability. Poem 28 delivers that chilling line. Doors pried open by trusted hands, police lanterns lighting the killer's plans.
The law looked on, refusing to fight. Just a picture of utter betrayal from within.
But again, that twist of hope emerges. From silence, evidence takes flame. From fear, we forge a fiercer claim, the twist. Justice becomes our weapon.
And Poem 28 ends with defiance. Each fallen voice still echoes clear. I see tomorrow rising from the dead. Even in death, the spirit of resistance lives on.
It's a recurring, powerful theme.
Okay, Chapter 4. Modern Struggles and Exploitation. Here we see how these ancient chains have, well, adapted to the 21st century.
From pandemics to poverty, linking local realities to global inequalities.
Poem 31, Scars on the Census, really struck me. How numbers, seemingly objective, can quantify this profound bane.
Crores of voices silenced, yet the numbers reveal the truth of enduring disparities.
Economic, social.
Yeah. Chains in fields where land is a dream, the ongoing struggle for economic justice. Children stitch carpets, continued exploitation. Even in schools, chalk writes cast on skin in classrooms.
So discrimination infiltrates even supposedly neutral spaces.
And infrastructure neglect is stark. A mother bleeds at birth in a hut of clay. Electric wires skip her village, turn away. Modern development literally bypassing these communities.
So historical injustice translates directly into contemporary disadvantage. It's not just ancient history.
Not at all. We often think of caste as purely historical, but these poems force us to see how it adapts and impacts modern life, industrial policy, healthcare, everything.
perpetuating injustice in new forms. But poem 31 also has that line.
The twist.
Yeah, they're pushed from wells, from wages, from light, yet still they rise, still they fight. And I, in my agony, hope sparks from this scar. Even in agony, that flicker of hope.
That defiant spirit again. It's woven throughout.
This theme continues in poem 32. Hunger wears a human face in a changing economy.
Showing the shift from agrarian labor to industrial decline. Mills shut like coffins of steel. Factories fall silent, dreams they steal.
And mechanization in farming, too. In fields, machines hum where hands once toiled, displacing manual laborers, often from marginalized communities, and the cost of basic services becomes unbearable. Schools priced high, health for sale, children faint, mothers pale.
Not just economic hardship, but systemic barriers denying a future.
And the twist here. Their cries become a rising gale.
Implying that even in these modern struggles, collective resistance is building, individual suffering transforming into this powerful, unified force.
Then the pandemic, a global crisis that just starkly exposed these existing inequalities. Masks we never receive, poems 33, 34, 35.
Yeah, this really raises that question. Who does society deem essential but also expendable?
Sanitation workers, right. Bend with buckets and brooms, their hand the shields in virus-filled rooms.
8 hours of scrubbing, no armor, no aid. The invisible front line cleaning up after society, yet given no protection themselves.
And despite that essential role, they face dehumanization. Thirst denied at stranger's gate, a sip of water refused by hate.
The poem says, call them lesser, though they save our breath, trading their safety for another's death. It's a profound indictment.
Exploited and then callously discarded.
And the pandemic worsened social stigma too. Trains return the weary and worn to villages where stigma is reborn.
Checked, confined, yet never embraced, their touch condemned.
And even critical aid was denied. Denied the doors, the IDs, the aid decreed by state. Bank cards lie untouched. A cruel system actively blocking relief for those most in need.
Urban life casts its own shadows too, poems 36, 37, 38. Exploited labor.
The rickshaw pullers in poem 36, bearing the weight of disdain each day, life constrained by whispers, by glances of unfair.
And it connects back to ancient ideas. Carved him from the cosmic feet, assigned their place centuries ago, still feeling it today.
And the sewer workers. Just harrowing, poem 37, descend into darkness, bare and unafraid, hands in filth.
Poem 38, sewer gases whisper death, a toxic lullaby, lungs burning in the grime.
Dehumanized, called bongis. That derogatory term. Yet the poem reminds us they are human souls serene.
While society averts its gaze from their rotten scraps and bitter meals.
And the systemic neglect is blatant. Municipal promises crumble, contracts exploit, wages vanish, illness gnaws.
Poem 37. The city counts pipes, not those who crawl.
Poem 38. The law saves names, not those who bleed in vain. Laying bare the hidden human cost of urban progress, borne by the invisible.
And this is where it gets really interesting and unsettling. It's not just physical labor or lack of resources.
No, caste penetrates intellectual spaces too.
Poem 39, Silenced Halls, exposing caste in academia. Corridors lined with unseen pain, bright minds dimmed by hands that judge, not teach.
And it's subtle too, right? Invisible barriers. Scholarships and ranks become invisible chains, lectures in foreign tongues deepen unseen strains.
So it's not just about getting in, but being marginalized within the institution.
Exactly. The cost of rising is high. Even as voices rise, some vanish from sight, and democracy trembles where silence conquers right. A powerful critique of institutions meant to foster equality.
And finally, Excluded Shadows, poems 40 and 49, showing how caste tragically transcends religious boundaries.
This is crucial. Conversions erase their claim to dignity's share, yet centuries of scorn cling stubbornly there.
Conversion cannot sever what caste implies. Changing your faith doesn't automatically free you from the social stigma.
It really raises that question about how deep-seated this is. It transcends religion, even national borders. It's not just an Indian issue, it's a global human rights challenge.
The poems detail segregated seats, whispered jibes, silent scorn. Even in God's house, inequality is born.
Even in sacred spaces. And discriminatory laws are highlighted, where state benefits might favor converts to some religions over others within the Dalit community itself.
Complicating things further.
And it goes global. Across lands, seas, and distant shores, Dalits endure where oppression soars. From Japan to Africa, echoes of disdain.
The author's stark observation, faith cannot free the oppressed scores. underscoring that this is a societal battle, not just spiritual.
A fundamental societal restructuring is needed.
Okay, let's shift gears now to Chapter 5, Rising Flames of Resistance, The Path Towards Freedom. After all that pain, the failures, the struggles, this chapter offers that vision of hope, of defiance.
It builds on the resilience we've seen throughout.
Poem 41, Ashes of Division, Bonds of Unity, shows how chains of caste and class entwine, a double web, that interconnection.
And how politics manipulates those divisions. Ballots split by caste's appeal, false prophets peddling wounds to steal.
But then the twist, the powerful counterpoint.
When caste and class unite as one, the fortress of centuries comes undone, and justice rises where despair left its mark.
It's a vision of unity, isn't it? That the very divisions used to oppress can become the source of stronger, unified resistance.
Intersectional solidarity, a broad coalition against all systemic injustice. That's the strategic importance highlighted there.
And this unity, the poem suggests, has led to real, concrete progress. Poem 42, where land turns into light.
Yes, powerful images. Red flags rise where chains once lay, fields were freed, the feudal fled, landless hands held grain instead. Speaks to actual land reforms, a shift in economic power.
Temple doors opened, night turned day, a break from religious exclusion.
And it credits collective action. Dalit, Adivasi, shoulder to shoulder, their voices grew steady, braver, bolder. The power of unity.
Plus educational advances. Schools and hostels, new lamps burned, scholarships given, dignity earned, opportunities for the next generation.
And a tangible result. I counted fewer atrocities, yet not too far. Progress is real, but...
Hope breathes, but still must yearn. The journey isn't over.
Far from it.
So even with progress, chains and flames, poem 43, acknowledges caste walls cut deeper than broken dreams, a citadel of centuries still unshaken.
But it's not resignation. It's a clear declaration of demands.
And the clarity is striking, isn't it? Moving beyond abstract ideas.
Exactly. Tangible structural changes needed for real liberation. Land to the landless, economic justice. Education free from the price of birth. Equitable access. Work with dignity, wages of worth, fair labor.
And it mentions a storm that cracks the stone, intercaste love, new seeds sown, recognizing the transformative power of connection across caste lines.
These are powerful aspirations for a truly equitable society.
The ultimate dream, maybe, is in poem 44, a dream of an equal playing field.
I imagine a field where all can run, equal beneath the same bright sun. A vision of true, unburdened equality. A level playing field.
And crucially, the empowerment of women. Women, honored, not scarred, their voices fierce, their truths unmarred.
A statement against both caste and gender oppression, and reclaiming identity. If I say delete, respect, not fear no erasure, but power clear.
And the twist here, transforming the dream itself.
Our dream is the weapon we guard, meaning the aspiration isn't just passive hope. It's an active driving force for change.
So what does this all mean in the end? Even with progress, with these powerful dreams, the locked doors remain.
A persistent, painful reality.
It's a potent reminder that justice isn't a destination, is it? It's an ongoing struggle. These poems testify to that unyielding fight.
Poems 45 through 50. Lessons in locked doors drive that home. Continuing discrimination.
The child forced to scrub the filth of a school hall. The man dragged through police lies, the writer pulled from his road.
The mother shielding her son from violence, that timeless act against constant threat.
And the poems directly question the Constitution's power. Poem 46 asks, does the Constitution breathe or sleep? Are its promises ours or secrets to keep?
Poem 45 even states, the Constitution vows in defeat, a stark admission of its failure to protect.
Poem 47 invokes, names long erased, yet their shadows still call. History lingers, holding keys to resistance in archives and texts.
The obstacles are deep, multifaceted. Poem 48, the dragon of pride, many-headed awake, feeding on silence, on divisions it makes, prejudice perpetuating itself.
And poem 50, the combined force, patriarchy and caste together dig her grave, that devastating double burden for Dalit women.
It really poses that question for us as a global community.
Yeah.
How do we move beyond just acknowledging these issues to actively dismantling these invisible walls?
Because they continue to divide and oppress.
Yet, even in these final poems, facing these immense challenges, there's defiance, unbroken dreams.
Poem 45 dreams its promise will one day rebel.
Poem 46 vows, in their pain I vow my watch will not weep.
Poem 47, the oppressed persist, defying the cage, and I, powerless, cradle their unbroken dream.
Poem 48, the broken are the ones who defy.
And poem 50's ending, just incredibly potent. Her spirit ignites. The world must reckon oppression meets its end.
Not just expressions of pain, declarations of unyielding hope, a fierce commitment to a future where justice finally prevails. Hashtag tag tag outro.
Wow. This deep dive into the other side of the wall, it's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It really has. Profound.
We've gone through the ancient shadows, the personal pain, the illusions of justice, modern exploitation.
Seeing how these invisible walls are built, feeling their devastating impact.
But also celebrating those rising flames of resistance that light a path towards freedom, towards dignity.
Raja Rao Pagidipalli's collection, as we've seen, it's so much more than just poetry. It's testimony, it's history, it's a direct call to action. And his hope, remember, is that these words spark one question, one dialogue, one act of justice.
And being well-informed, really understanding the nuances, the stark realities these poems show us. That's the crucial first step, isn't it?
It absolutely is, towards contributing to that more just world. It empowers you, listening, to see these walls and maybe, just maybe, to help dismantle them.
This deep dive has shown us that the wall isn't just a metaphor. It's a lived, often crushing reality for millions. So as we step back from these powerful verses, from their call for justice, maybe consider this. If on the other side of the wall lies freedom, what single conversation, what small but conscious action could you initiate today to help dismantle just one brick in any wall, seen or unseen, that divides us? Or maybe to amplify a voice that's trying to reach its other side?